Abram lived in a city called Haran with his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot. One day, God spoke to Abram, giving him a command and a promise that would change his life forever. God said to Abram, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Trusting in God's promise, Abram obeyed. He was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all their possessions, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and together they set out for the land of Canaan. When they arrived in Canaan, Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. At that time, the Canaanites were still living in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So Abram built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. From there, Abram moved on toward the hills east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built another altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram set out and continued his journey toward the Negev. Reflection. Abram's story is a powerful example of faith and obedience. Despite the uncertainties and challenges of leaving everything familiar, Abram trusted God's promise and set out on a journey that would lead to the fulfillment of God's plan for him and his descendants. Abram's faith and trust in God set the foundation for the covenant relationship between God and the people of Israel. This story teaches that God's promises often require faith and action, even when the path ahead is unclear. Abram's journey of faith is celebrated as the beginning of the journey that would ultimately lead to the establishment of the nation of Israel and the coming of the Messiah, through whom all nations would indeed be blessed. After Abram and Sarai arrived in Canaan, a severe famine struck the land. The famine was so severe that Abram decided to go down to Egypt to live there for a while, where food was more plentiful. This decision marked a significant moment of trial in Abram's journey. As they were about to enter Egypt, Abram became concerned for his safety. Sarai, his wife, was very beautiful, and Abram feared that the Egyptians might kill him to take Sarai for themselves if they knew she was his wife. To protect himself, Abram said to Sarai, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but let you live. Say you are my sister, so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you." Sarai agreed, and when they entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was indeed very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. Because of Sarai, Pharaoh treated Abram well, giving him sheep, cattle, donkeys, servants, and camels. However, because Pharaoh had taken Sarai into his palace, God sent serious plagues on Pharaoh and his household. These plagues made Pharaoh realize that something was wrong, and he soon discovered that Sarai was actually Abram's wife. Pharaoh summoned Abram and said, "What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She is my sister,' so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go." Pharaoh gave orders to his men to send Abram on his way, along with his wife and everything he had. So Abram left Egypt with Sarai and all their possessions, returning to the Negev, and eventually to the place where he had first built an altar to the Lord. The story of Abram and Sarai in Egypt is a reminder that even those who are called by God can experience fear and make mistakes. Abram's decision to deceive the Egyptians showed a lack of trust in God's protection. Despite this, God intervened to protect Sarai and Abram, demonstrating his faithfulness even when Abram's faith wavered. This story also highlights the importance of integrity and the consequences of deception. Abram's actions brought trouble upon Pharaoh and his household, but God's intervention ensured that Abram and Sarai were not harmed. In the end, God's promise to Abram remained intact, and this episode served as a lesson in faith and trust. The story encourages believers to rely on God's protection and to act with integrity even in difficult situations. It also shows that God's plans cannot be thwarted by human mistakes, and his faithfulness endures through all circumstances.